Hi Year 12. This is a very short video on looking at the experiment on plant growth, one we did with fertilisers, just to remind you of a few pertinent things. So we've got this here. Let's open, it's obviously on Q Drive where you are at school. Okay, so you've got the assignment there, you've got the brand fertilisers and the nutrient ratios there. Okay, so that's all ready supplied for you. Practical design, which is, I'll just find that one, this one here. Okay, so you can actually work through this sheet and tick off what you do, and I'll go through that a little bit more detail. But so we've got how plants use fertilizers and so on. There's also a sheet there that talks about analyzing the results. Okay, so let's get back to this one here. Alright, so that's in the useful references. I've also got a PowerPoint that talks about experimental design as well. There's also an Excel spreadsheet which talks about how to work out standard deviation. Alright, now I'm going to split this up into a couple of different things. First of all, I'm going to talk about setting up your assignment. So let's talk about that for a start, and then I'll talk about the results in another little video, and then one about the discussion. Okay, so just to break it up a bit. Alright, so in the assignment, let's go down here, we've got the abstract. Okay, introduction, hypothesis, materials, method. Alright, now you should have all that done. However, just to remind you of what you need to do, and if you don't need reminding, you don't have to listen to this. Okay, so all needs to be written in past tense, impersonal. So say what you did, not what you're going to do, and no I's or we's. The title needs to be brief but also describe the experiment. So the effect of different fertilizers on wheat plants is a fine title. Abstract. Write it at the end of your experiment, not at the start. You can't possibly write it. However, it's got 3 sentences. Once you've finished, 3 sentences. First sentence, hypothesis. Second sentence, describing the method. Third sentence, describing the results and explaining why. Now, if you want to actually have a look at an abstract, there's also one on the Q Drive. All right, there's just a screenshot, or just Google, anything. Effective fertilizers on plants or something, and you should be able to come up with an abstract. All right, the introduction explains the background to the experiment, finds and quotes research on the relevant material of the experiment. So this is where those two Word documents come in, where I've copied stuff off the net with the URL, and you can use those as your research on the relevant material. You can find some more as well. Okay, so in the introduction, you say, why do plants need nutrients? Do they need all the same amount of nutrients, or are they major nutrients and minor nutrients? What are the nutrients that they need? And also, how do the plants use those nutrients? So there's about 4 things you need to include in that introduction. And if you haven't included those 4 things, you're not getting it. Okay? So if you need to replay this little video and get those 4 things, do it. Your hypothesis should be a statement that you can test. For example, the citrus fertilizer will grow the most biomass in the wheat. It can't be, it might grow better. All right? Get it? A short statement that can be tested. In an experiment, you're testing whether it's right or wrong, and you're proving whether that statement is right or wrong. Materials in dot points. Method, numbered sentences. Results in tables. Okay, we're going all through this. Discussion, conclusion. References. Okay, it also talks on this sheet about how systematic errors and also random errors are, what they are, and how you can organise it. It also talks about what independent variables and dependent variables are. Very quickly on that one, the independent variable is the one you change, which is the fertilizer. The dependent variable is the one that you are measuring, which is the weight or the biomass of the plant. Okay, and everything else in there is controlled. How many plants, how much water, and so on. Okay,